Hey guys, today we're down at the big boat and we're going to talk about several things. So I'll probably break this video up into several different videos so they're nice and short for you. The first thing we're going to go over is you just installed your Humminbird Solix electronics, just setting that up. We're going to talk about setting up your network, setting up your Canon Optimum downriggers, and going through the Bluetooth features and how to get everything communicating. Come on board and let's get started with setting up our Solix for the first time. Okay, so on this boat, I'm going to run two Solix units. I've got a Solix 15-inch screen. This is a Mega SI Plus, and then I've got the Mega DI Plus in 12-inch up above. So we're going to start off by first time setup. We're going to set up the 12-inch first. You don't want to try and set both of these up, especially if you have connected the network cable. And this unit is going to be networked, and so all my cables are run. I'm connected to the network. So if you want to set both your units up at the same time, make sure you're not connected to the network, okay? So let's jump into setting up the 12-inch down imaging Mega Plus, okay? Okay guys, so we're getting this 12-inch DI Mega Plus first time setup. I've already hit the power button and here we go. So let me just point out while this is going through the booting process, doesn't take very long. Don't wire your Solix units into your boat wiring system. You need to run its own power straight to the batteries or to the battery switch. I have seen a lot of comments in forums, hey, I'm losing voltage, my unit turns off, and lo and behold, they've wired into the boat's wiring system. The boat's wiring is not sufficient to handle the load that these need. So go straight to the batteries, you won't have a problem with that. On this unit, I'm also running my radar to the network, so everything's networked together. So begin manual setup, that's what I like to select. Now in here you can select angler mode, and if you do that it'll use some smart defaults. I like to use custom, okay? I like a 12-hour format, and I'm going to select my location, which is Pacific time. I'm going to go back, custom, 12-hour time format, and Pacific, next. So it's saying it didn't detect a transducer. That's fine. I'm just going to hit confirm. It can't see a transducer because I don't have the transducer coming to the 12DI. I've got it going down to the 15. For sonar, it says auto configure. I'll just leave that fine. I'm not going to worry about depth, offset, or water type for this unit. Chart, I'm just going to leave it with Humminbird. It does have the selection of navionics. I don't have the Coastmaster chart in this unit. I have it in the unit down below. So we'll hit next. Boat icon. You can select your engines. You can select, I've got 2 engines or what have you, your tanks, etc., your vessel dimensions. I'm not going to worry about that on here. I'm going to do that on the 15. And then you'll see that when I bring them together in network, everything will read what's on the 15. So I'm just going to confirm this, confirm again, and we're set up. So, no edits. That's how long it takes to get this unit set up, okay? Now, I'm going to turn the unit off. You need this unit to be off to set up the next unit, because remember, I'm currently on a network, so if I suddenly turn this one on, it's going to want to read all the settings off of this one, and it's not complete, okay? All right, so we're going to jump down to the 15 and get it first time setup. Okay guys, so I've just pressed the power button. This is for our first time setup on the Solix 15 SI Mega Plus. First time setup. Now in this one, we're going to have a few more selections than we had up above. Well, we're going to actually select a few more things than we did up above. The options are still going to be the same. Okay, we're in here. We're going to begin our manual setup. Press that. Again, I'm not going to select Angler. You could if you want, but I'm going to select Custom. My time format is fine. I'm going to select Pacific. Return. So I've got Custom, 12-hour format, Pacific time. The next screen. Okay. Your sonar's connected. Now, this unit comes with a transom mount transducer. I'm running a through-hole transducer, okay? So if you want to run a through-hole transducer, that's something that you need to purchase additional. When you're using Hummingbird's transducers, leave it on auto configure. It will figure everything out, okay? I'm not going to worry about my depth offset at this time, but I am going to select saltwater. And you can see here, you have the option to select saltwater shallow. So if you know you're fishing primarily areas that don't get any deeper than say 40, 50 feet, then I would select saltwater shallow, okay? All right, so that's all set. I'm gonna go back. So auto configure, temp sonars check, that way we get our temp, and the water type is set. Next. Okay, so I have Coastmaster charts in here. Okay, it's inserted right over here. So we're going to leave it with Humminbird. And again, I'm not going to worry about my water level offset. Next. So boat icon. So I like this boat icon. It's great. So engine tanks, if you have a NEMA 2000 connection to your motors, this is where you can get that information on your boat. So I've got 2 engines and 2 tanks. Select that. Vessel dimensions. In here, you can say, okay, what's my safe depth? Now this is where you'll start getting alarms, okay? And I'll talk about alarms a little bit, just so that you know how to shut them off if you don't need them. So my safe depth is a little better, a little more shallow than 7. So I'm going to go to 5, okay? Safe beam, I'm a 10.5 foot beam. I like to widen this up to 15. And safe height, you got to keep in mind you got your antennas, your radar, stuff like that. So I'm going to bump that up to 15. Okay, so we're good there. So we've got our boat icon, our engine and tanks, our vessel dimensions, and I'm going to confirm to complete setup, okay? And you can either touch screen or you can hit the checkbox over here. So now this unit is set up. So before we jump into networking the 2 units, I wanted to show you how to turn off alarms. A lot of times people just want to jump into settings and look for it. If you just look right to the bottom left, you've got alarms. And so we can jump in here and we can say, hey, mute alarms. You can see what your history is, stuff like that. So I just kind of like to look down through here. I'm not concerned about lost heading personally. I'll leave the voltage at 10.5. I leave that alarm on. We'll back up one. Check out vessel alarms. This is where, like, your drift limit, your pitch roll, all that stuff you can set in here if you want to. Navigation, off course. I don't use courses, so I'm going to turn that off, okay? The areas I'm fishing, I know where I am. I don't worry about arrival, so I turn that off. If you are plotting courses, especially long courses, and you want to know if you're off course, you want to know what your arrival is, go ahead and leave those alarms on. Sonar, don't really have any here except for, you know, like the shallow, you know, fish shallow, fish deep, shallow water. You can set those alarms, but I'm pretty cognizant of where I am at all times. You know, if you're putting somebody that's a little less experienced at the helm, that might come into play. Okay, this one is important, the target's alarm, because I have a transceiver on my VHF radio. And so what that means is boats that have AIS transponders, I can see those vessels on my chart, okay? Now, if I get too close to one of these vessels, it's gonna see that as a dangerous target, okay? So I wanna turn that off, because when I'm going by the marina and I'm too, you know, a boat's tied up, but it's got AIS, I'm all of a sudden getting alarms because I'm too close to that vessel, okay? So I just turn that off. I just like to see where those vessels are. I guess if, you know, I was doing an overnight trip and I was anchored up, I would turn that alarm on so that if any vessel with AIS got near me, I would be able to know that they're close, and I would get up and see what's going on. You've got guard zone, sector, and circle. I'm not going to worry about those alarms, so I'm turning those off. I'm going to back out of here. Your temperature, this is where you can, for your engines, right? If you're having engine temperature issues, you have alarms, this is where you're going to want to turn those on. And then also your engine, low fuel. I don't have this hooked up to my fuel, so I'm going to turn this off. It's a moot point. And I'm going to turn off oil level, because I don't have my engines currently hooked up to my Solix. I will soon, since I'm doing a repower. So that's where your alarms are. So let's back out of here, let's go home, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire up the 12-inch DI, because now we're on network, and you're about to see what's going to happen here. We'll just stay on this screen right here. Okay, so the 12 DI has now, it's turned on, and I'm getting this notice on both units, okay? I want to operate from the 15 because I want the 15 to be in charge. So I'm going to say sync network, okay? So here's what it's saying. If we look at this unit, it's this unit, and it's giving me the remote unit, okay? So I want to sync this unit so that the remote unit is a slave to this unit, kind of, in a matter of speaking, okay? So right down here, we're going to click Select Sync Network. You'll get this warning, all nav data will be saved, but only the settings from the selected network will be preserved. That's why you leave it on this unit. So we want these settings to be preserved, because we want the 12 DI to now know that this unit's already been synced with a transducer, okay? So I'm going to confirm this. Now it's configuring the network. I'm getting the same picture on both screens. You get this warning down at the bottom, and this is really important. So, you know, make sure your batteries are charged. Don't shut these units off, because you can have corrupt files occur, and then you've got to start all over and everything. One thing I need to point out, and I'll show you where to find this, both units have to have the exact same software version, okay? So if software version is 3.750, it needs to be 3.750 on both units. If both units don't have the current software, this network is going to fail. It's not going to work, okay? All right, we are networked. So I do want to show you, so if you're in settings and you go to your network, system info, this is where you can see what your software version is, and it is in fact 3.750. I had already updated the software on both of these units. So regardless of whether you're in the saltwater, you're a bass angler, a walleye guy, you're running a network, make sure you have the same software before you attempt to do any type of networking, okay? So guys, first time setup is really easy. Putting a network together, it's simple, okay? Keep in mind on your network, just as a point, you need a 5-port Ethernet hub if you're going to connect more than 2 units together. I have a 5-port Ethernet hub because I have the 15, I have the 12, I have radar. So I need a 5-port Ethernet hub to make everything communicate. So I hope this information has been helpful. Thanks for watching.